Kayla, why?
You tried to kill me.
Welcome back, everybody, to Stop Interviewing, Start Selling. I'm your host, Philip Meyer, and a returning guest, only the second time in the show's history that I've done this, Miss Kayla Matthews, car salesperson extraordinaire. Yay, Kayla! She's back. She's back, everyone. Also, AKA Kayla the Car Girl from YouTube.
Yes.
So
yes, there's that when I'm actively do that.
So as a new YouTuber myself, last time I spoke to you, Kayla, you mentioned that you had a YouTube channel. So I actually looked it up after our last conversation. And do you remember what I texted you the next day?
You yelled at me because I had more subscribers and more views than you did.
I did. But that wasn't but just to clarify, that wasn't the reason I yelled at you. The reason I yelled at you is because
I know. I'm not actively doing it anymore.
Okay, so I haven't checked in fact, I'll go onto your page right now. Hold on one second here.
I haven't done anything since the last one. Don't check my page. Not publicly.
No. I'm just going to look at how many views you had, because this is nothing to sneer at. You had, let's see here. Where was it? Hold on. This is awesome podcast material, by the way. Hold on one second. By the way, you have 18 subscribers now, which is awesome. Okay, so 3 years ago, I don't know if anybody can see this, but 3 years ago, you had a 2017 5.0 Ford Mustang video with 1,700 views. Kayla, why?
You tried to kill me.
Who did? I did?
That's the video. He was driving like a crazy person, tried to kill me. Yeah. That's very entertaining. Who wouldn't want to see that?
Right, because that's why people are tuning into your page, right?
Not the quality of the content.
No,
because I might die.
Yeah, no, couldn't possibly be. But the reason I bring that up is because my most viewed video was 300 something views. You have 1,700 views. Why are you not doing this more?
What you're saying is, Kayla, why are you not capitalizing on this opportunity?
Right? Exactly.
I'm going to go with laziness.
All right.
Let's just be honest.
Well, so now that it's put out there in the universe, now there's no more excuse. You got to get back on Kayla, because imagine, Kayla, if you're walking around Walmart and some dude or some girl is like, oh my gosh, it's Kayla the Car Girl.
That used to happen to me all the time when I was actively videoing on Facebook, YouTube, things like that. Do you know how embarrassing it is when you're having a weak girl moment and you're getting a bunch of ice cream, brownies, and then someone's like, hey, I know you. And you're like, yeah, I haven't showered today and I'm going to go eat ice cream. Leave me alone.
Well, yes, I do know about the weak girl moments, because that's totally what I go through every day.
See?
But think of it.
Everyone does it. Everyone does it. Everyone has gone to Walmart on a day they're not feeling great, unshowered, and that's the day you get recognized by everyone.
Well, exactly. But think of it this way.
You can go into Walmart every single day for a month looking absolutely gorgeous, and then the one day you're unshowered. Oh my gosh, don't talk to me, don't smell me, don't look at me.
Yeah, but think of it this way, though. If people know who Kayla is because of your YouTube page, imagine how many more customers will want to buy a car from you, right? I would imagine people would probably walk into the dealership like my wife and I did, and we were like, we don't want to work with anybody else except Kayla, right? Okay, so just for those of you guys listening.
I understand that that concept. But again, when I was actively doing it, and you brought it up one time when you and I were talking just personally outside of podcast world, I get the male interest. Oh my gosh, are you single? It's never, I actually want to come in because you shared quality knowledge with me. You seem helpful. It's, yeah, I'll buy a car from you. What's up, girl? So that's kind of another reason. It was a lot of work doing those videos. It was fun. It was entertaining. I get to play around with my coworkers and things like that. But the feedback I was getting wasn't as positive as my one-on-ones. Because our interaction happened when you were coming in and we were actively talking about sales, something you're very, invested in, things like that. And you were enjoying the content, the back and forth of what I had learned, what you had learned. We were exchanging knowledge. We were exchanging, and that's what helped form that bond, that trust.
Yeah.
The videos for me haven't had that one-on-one connection that I really enjoy. It's not a bad thing to be that widely known, that, have that video content to share that information. Just a lot of times when you're doing videos, you're missing that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I can kind of see that too. Cause it does make sense, because if you're on YouTube, I mean, obviously, what's the best way to put this? I'm just going to say it. Okay. Like, attractive women typically do better in sales than a lot of guys do. And that's been true, whether it's in car sales or it's in medical sales or it's in the laundry industry, like myself, what I'm in, right? Not just to clarify, don't get me wrong, don't comment and say that I'm a sexist or chauvinist or whatever. I'm just making a point. And that is that I'm backing Kayla up on what she's saying, because yeah, it's true, right? I mean, like in my industry is like the blue collar industry.
Commenting on what you see. I live it.
Right.
For the most part, people come in and they just want help finding the right vehicle. Like you said, you and your wife came in, you wanted to find a decent vehicle that would help carry around all of your children. Have you had the fourth one yet, by the way?
No, any day now, though. Any day.
I'm so excited for that. But you were just looking for help finding a good vehicle, good price, a good value. So for the most part, those that I interact with, like I say, you get that one-on-one. It's very professional. They appreciate my knowledge. They appreciate the help. But every once in a while, you get someone that thinks, oh my gosh, this female is being nice to me. And that overshadows so much of the positive, So it's not being chauvinist. It's not being a pig. It's commenting on something that's really happening. Right. If you see a female in a professional role, she's not there so hoping to find her, this is a derogatory term, but hoping to find her MRS, her missus. She's not looking to be wiped up. She can take care of herself. She can handle her business.
100%.
She's not looking for you.
Yep.
If you are not there to interact with her professionally, please leave her alone.
Right. Exactly. So it's funny how we always end up talking about this specific subject, you and I. But I just kind of feel like, I mean, this gets into the whole like how do you raise your kids? How do you raise your sons? I mean, myself, I have a daughter, right, who's very personable, who loves to talk to people. And I'm not going to lie, if she was, thank you. I'm not going to lie, if she was to come up to me and say, when she's 16, 17, 18 years old, and she's like, Daddy, I really think I want to get into sales, I'd be like, you know what? I think you'd kill it. Honestly. I think you do amazing. Plus, I'm your dad, so I'm going to coach you on how to do it. And I'm kind of amazing. Just kidding. But for her,
basically that's the best there is. It's fine.
Right. But that's kind of my fear too, is her kind of getting into that environment and going through that and seeing how certain people treat her. But on the flip side, though, it happens to guys too. A weird side effect of this podcast. And my disclaimer, by the way.
Gosh. Yes.
Yeah, my disclaimer, by the way,
Sorry,
on this is that I'm not saying that I'm anything special or that I'm the most attractive person in the world, but my LinkedIn page has blown up. Like ever since I started
Good.
like I swear I have 2 to 3 people maybe that want to connect with me, and most of the time it's because they're from like the company that I work for. They want to connect, they want to talk and discuss. But I've also had the creeper version as well, where I get a private message from a connection that happens to be a female, and all it says is "hey" with 2 Y's, like "hey," and I'm like, and block.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah, no,
so
nobody has
weird.
time for that. That's
No.
actually so. I was having this discussion. You remember Cody that I worked with? You met him, the younger kid.
Yeah,
He and I
he's
were having
great.
a discussion. So last night I had a gentleman that I was showing a few SUVs for. He's buying something for his wife, and he actually turned out to be that creeper. Made a few comments that made me excessively uncomfortable, like
Mm,
excessively. I won't bring it up. We won't have to go
yeah.
into that. But Cody and I were having this discussion about it and how obnoxious it is and things like that. And he was talking about his fiance. So he used to work at Domino's. That's where he met his fiance, and they delivery drive, things like that.
Yeah.
About the how comfortable people feel invading a female space, and it's well known. We can talk about it, and so many people are going to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, preach, da da da, girls get hit on all the time, girls get the creepers all the time.
Right.
So do the guys.
Yes.
Gotta get it. Because so there's the women to women aspect of it, where a woman invades another woman's space because they're both women, and that's okay when it's not. And women will invade men's space because, again, they're not seen as a predator.
Right.
So there's so many aspects of this, and it's so frustrating. It's just treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat them with
Yeah.
professional courtesy. If you find them attractive, there's less creepy ways to make that known, but do it
Right.
later on. Just don't be weird about it.
Yeah. Exactly. So
Yeah.
so segueing into kind of a
This is
backstory.
about trust.
Huh? What's that?
We're talking about trust here.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. We're talking about trust, everyone. But
Oh, God.
kind of a backstory into the reason I have Kayla back on the podcast is because when I first met Kayla, like it was based on a cold call that I walked into Smith Chevy, which is the place that you work, right? And we struck up a friendship, a conversation about sales, which is a common interest. But one of the things that had transpired is my wife and I were expecting our 4th kid, looking for a bigger car. Unfortunately, I had to get rid of my Ford Taurus, which I miss and I love. And I actually saw it driving around, and I was like, "That's my car!" Like I seriously would have gone back in after my work vehicle dies, and I would have bought that car back because that's how much I loved it. It was amazing. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so Kayla and I started talking about SUVs, and we like the way that Kayla approached it, like at least with me, was so comfortable. Like she was super, super knowledgeable about the vehicle itself. I even brought up a cheaper option than what we were looking at. She said, I would never sell that to you because it's a terrible car. I won't mention what it is. Most people probably already know what we're talking about.
Right.
Then fast forward a couple months, and my wife and I are actually on our way to a dealership in Pocatello, which is about an hour away. Just because there's a salesperson there was super persistent with me. The first thing I thought to myself as we were driving out is I was like, you know what? I wonder if Kayla's working today. I should probably call her and like stop by because like I just want to see what's on the lot, right? So I come out within what was it, 2 hours? We found a
Yeah.
vehicle, bought the vehicle, left with the vehicle. That was it, right? No, there's no reason to drive all
And
these.
it was one, yeah, it was one that we weren't really anticipating, but once everything you saw it and everything kind of worked out, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, I think my budget at the time was like $20,000. I want to spend on a car, but the vehicle I bought was like 10 grand. It was half that. And specifically, the reason that we bought it, and my wife and I have talked about this at length. The reason I bought it once again is because we trusted you, right? We trusted the knowledge that you had. We also really appreciated the approach that you took with it as well, because you were able to speak back to the whole reason we were purchasing a car in the first place, right? Which were more space, growing family, what have you. So from definitely the bottom of my heart, that's my wife's heart, because in the past, like buying cars has been a very stressful time, full of negotiation and full of the games and the haggling, which I don't mind, but at this point in my life,
To a degree, yeah.
yeah, right. So once again, thank you for that. So I guess the question I would ask you, Kayla, is that a common thing with you when you sell vehicles? How do you build trust with a prospect that's looking to purchase a product from you?
Honesty. You just be completely upfront about everything that you know and just kind of continue from there. Obviously, you have to be paying attention to the feedback they're giving you, the body language. Um, the thing I'm trying to learn is what a person is not saying, because person comes in, car sales, everyone has what we call a wall up. They assume you're going to take advantage of them. They assume you're going to push them into something that they can't afford or something. So they're telling you what they want you to know. And you have to be able to know what they're not saying as well, which I'm still learning. I'm still trying. But what's nice is it is with my personality, with that laid back, relaxed approach to it. Most people do not feel boxed in. So it does help them say more of what they thought they didn't want to say. And
Right.
we most of the time I get to form friendships. I get to form that good relationship with people that do trust me, that do want to come back. Actually, again, same thing last night after the weird guy. I have he's actually a cop here in Idaho Falls. I've been working with him for over a year, like a year and a half, something like that. And he was making a joke. Even his mechanic wants him to just pull the trigger on a truck because he keeps talking to him about every truck he's finding, not sure on what he wants to do. He actually got my sales manager's phone number from a friend of his because they do business with Smith Chevrolet a lot, and called my sales manager the other day on a different truck that his sold. He missed his chance on that, but talked to my sales manager. My sales manager went over it. It was a diesel with 160,000 miles on it. So he told him, this is good. This is good. The ball joints are a little soft on it. This is kind of starting to go out. It's 160,000 mile, diesel on it. So when he came in, he's like, I really appreciated that. I'm like, that is one of the main reasons why I'm here at Smith Chevrolet, because we would much rather up front everything that we know about it so that you can choose whether or not you want to spend your money on it.
Yeah.
Because even a 160,000 mile diesel is still in the $30,000 range. That's still a lot of money. I mean,
Sure.
It's not a lot of money for a diesel, but it's still a lot of money.
Yeah. So you brought up something interesting. Actually, two very interesting points that I want to touch on each individually. But the first one was, you mentioned reading somebody's body language, figuring out what they're not saying to you. And I feel like that's not just with car sales. It's also with, for example, the industry that I'm in, where I go in and the prospect maybe with a different vendor, maybe one of my competition, and immediately I'll start asking penetrating questions, right? Like, what kind of issues are you having? Are you having this specific issue with the prospect? And a lot of times in the beginning, they'll go, no, everything's fine. Like, we're good or whatever. But looking back at it too, there's a reason that they met with me in the first place, because they didn't call me. They didn't walk into my office and say, hey, I want to meet with you. It's 100% of the time, it's me reaching out to them, sitting down with them. And so figuring out why that person is sitting down, I think part of it is just being frank with them, just asking. I remember one time I was sitting down with a guy, and I was asking about, are you being shorted on your uniforms? Are they being repaired correctly? Do you have improper billing practices? What have you? And he was just like, yeah, nope, nope, everything. Like every question was just like, he answered it perfectly. So at the very end, I said, listen, I'm just going to ask, man. I sat back, I put my pen down. I said, why am I here right now? Like, am I just that good on the phone that you just couldn't say no to me. Like, you just were like, fine, I'll sit down with him because he's got this silver tongue, and I'm gonna sit down and just chill and just hang out with the salesperson. Like, is that what's going on? And once I said that, I kind of related to him a little bit more, and he kind of broke down a little bit more and started giving me a little bit more information. And by the time we signed him up, he was like, "Oh, I hate that. That company sucks, whatever." And he was all full of like venom for the incumbent, right? So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a big part of it. I'm sure there's probably thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of books that are written by sales experts to like uncover what the true buying motivation is, right?
Dozens,
Probably.
dozens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But really, it's just patience, paying attention, never being afraid to ask for help. I mean, I know you go out individually one-on-one with, these business to business with clients and things like that. So it's nice with me. I have my managers right there. I have my coworkers right there. I can grab one of them and be like, hey, I need help. And we have it right instant. So you probably more have to go back, touch base with a coworker or something, discuss it. But it is really nice to have that support, to have that help. But yeah, it's patience. It's asking the right questions. It's, letting them come to that conclusion.
Yeah. Like, and that's actually the other thing that you brought up perfectly. It's almost like we planned this out, Kayla. But you said patience, right? Like, and I think patience is definitely a virtue, but I think for salespeople, it's almost a necessity, right? Because in sales, inevitably, we have quotas, right? And we got to hit those quotas. And if we don't hit those quotas, we could be in, we're losing money, or we're losing bonuses, or worst case scenario, we don't hit the quota, we're out, right? We're pounding pavement. We're making cold calls, not to sell, but to sell ourselves to another company to hire us, right? So I think for salespeople,
I'm fine. I'm great. I sell so much. Yeah.
yeah, right.
I've been there.
But I think for salespeople, I think patience is a big thing, because we're so used to wanting to drive the sale home now, right? Like, I had a sales manager a long time ago that was like, that account's super small. Like, if you go back, 2-3 times, don't worry about it. Just walk away and move on to something else. And to a certain extent, I think he was right, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to come back when I'm in the area and drop in and be like, hey, what's up, man? I'm still looking to try to earn your business, because who knows? That could be the difference between me making my bonus or me not making my bonus. And if that person
Right.
continues to see me over and over and over again, it builds that trust, like what you and I are talking about. And trust takes time, right? That's where that patience comes in.
Yeah.
I had a really cool instance when I first started at the company I work for. I walked into this little tiny automotive shop, and the guy asked me, he's like, so how long have you been working for this company? And I was kind of embarrassed to tell him. I was like, like 4 months. And he's like, okay. He's like, why don't you come back in a year if you're still here, and we'll talk. And I was like, okay. So I come back, walk in there after a year, and I'm like, hey, remember me? And he's like, oh yeah, you're that kid. I was like, yeah, I'm really good now. Let's talk. and then we got him signed up, right? It wasn't like a gigantic account where I was going to make a ton of money from it, but it was an account that was just barely hit our minimum stop value. And it was just because I kept going back and actually came back after a year and built that trust. He's still our customer to this day, like 6 years later. So it's pretty cool.
And those little mini victories are so huge.
So huge.
Because I mean, same thing years ago, right? When I very first started with Smith Chevrolet, I had a couple come in and they were looking at Tahoes with me. And the guy just would barely acknowledge that I existed. The wife was being super polite, nice to me, got my manager involved. The guy would talk to my manager, but wouldn't talk to me at all.
Right.
Anyway, it ended up being a lost lead for me. We didn't get him a Tahoe. We didn't do anything at that time. What was it? About almost a year, 6 months to a year later, he comes in and he's now looking at Duramax trucks. And somebody else goes out, talks to him, and he mentions that he'd been helped by a girl there. Fortunately, I'm the only girl at Smith Chevrolet. Hey, guys. So they came out and got me, and he goes, "Hey, Kayla, you're still here." Da da da, and got super excited and took everything, listened to everything that I had to say. We went over the truck, was super grateful, bought that truck. As soon as the brand new Tahoes came out, he got a brand new Tahoe as well. Super great customer, but it was just that you're brand new, what can you know kind of thing. And at the time I took it, oh, he's not wanting to talk to a girl. He was talking to my sales manager because my sales manager had been there 15 years.
Yeah.
Now that I've been there for 3, now I've developed that relationship, that trust. And every time he's in, he says hi to me. We look at new vehicles, and, he's a client for life now.
Yeah. Like it's definitely, like experience has a lot to do with it. And it's, I think that's, that's super invaluable, especially in sales, because like the average turnover with some of these sales companies out there that have outside sales reps or inside sales reps is very high, right? Because not everybody's cut out to be a salesperson, and not all sales trainers are created equal. And so when you have that happen, you have a lot of distrust that just naturally builds of salespeople, because they're like, well, am I going to see you again or whatever, right? Like with my customers, one thing that they ask is, so let's say 3 months goes by, like, are you going to stop back in, check on my service and see how things are going? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. I'll come bring you donuts because I want a referral, right? Like I want to make sure that your service is great, but I also want to make sure that I'm working smarter, not harder, by hitting 20, 30 doors a day, when I could go back to my current customers and say, hey, like, who do you know who I can help?
Them mention all their friends. Yeah, exactly.
Right? 100%.
Those are my favorite, the repeats and the referrals.
Yeah, definitely. But that brings me back to like our buying process that we went through with you. Like, I'm not sure if you remember this, but like after we purchased the car, one of the things I mentioned to you was, man, once my Fusion's paid off, because that's what I drive now, once it's paid off, I know exactly where I'm coming to buy my next vehicle, right? Because I already know you. Like I know the process. I know there's no games. There's not going to be a lot of negotiation. I might give you a little bit of a hard time because I know you, right? But other than
You're
that,
supposed to, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end, I know I'm walking out of there with a quality vehicle. It's going to last me a long time. It's going to fit all my needs, and it's going to help me ultimately do my job. So that's the way I see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to ask you next, and that's why I'm pausing. And now it's uncomfortable
You're
because it's a
totally fine, because we
podcast.
talked about one of the things that you did want to touch is that what
Yeah.
people aren't saying. I don't know if that'll
Yes.
jog anything.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So what kind of techniques do you use, or do you have a technique that you kind of use to break people out of their shell, out of their guard?
Oh gosh, it's so hard because so many people, there's so many different personality types. You have your red, you're very straight to the point, direct. They don't really actually want you around until they have a question. So just kind of being patient, backing off, letting them play with something, letting them arrive to whatever vehicle they want to look at and start playing, pushing buttons, and just being prepared to answer directly whatever question they have. That's kind of a good way with them. And then you have people that are a little bit more social, like you and I, that we can sit and chat and have a conversation and also be playing with things. And it's just, a lot of times in your greeting, you'll get that read on, is it someone that's smiling at you, being friendly, accepting that you're there to help? Is it someone, I walked up to a guy today, and as soon as I got to his truck, he goes, where do all you people come from? So he was clearly annoyed. Yeah, clearly annoyed that I came out to his vehicle. And my only thinking is, like, right off the top of my head, I'm like, you came into my dealership during business hours.
Yeah.
I'm doing my job. What did you expect?
Right.
Didn't say that. And I just laughed. I'm like, sir, I came right out that front door as soon as I saw you were here. And he goes, you came all the way out here for me? I'm like, of course I did. I'm excited to get to help you. Oh, okay. Well, it's cold outside. Go back inside. I'm just looking. Totally fair, sir. this is our use, da da da. Let me know if you have questions. Okay. He drives off, ends up finding a car. He was that red personality. Let him jump in, play with stuff. It got nowhere, but he at least let me in to stand next to him and talk about the truck and things like that. But yeah, it's just, and then when you get the opportunity, like you said, it's asking questions. The more questions you ask, the more information you have, and the more helpful that you can be.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guest that I had today was a little less on me talking to him and him just doing what he wanted to do. But for the most part, people will answer those questions when they're in. Okay, what brought you in today? I'm just looking. It's a great place to start. Are you looking for new, used? Oh, we were thinking your new vehicles. Great, they're going to be over here. Are you thinking truck, SUV, car? Oh, this, what are you driving now? Is this replacing something? Just kind of, and you can kind of flow on. Obviously it'll get the conversation will steer based on a person's personality, what it is they're looking for. Is this work, pleasure? Are you towing? Do you have kids? Kind of thing. And you just kind of follow those directions. You have kids, great. Are they in extracurriculars? Are they going to school? How many? All those fun things.
Yeah. Like, I think there's so many different schools of thought on that too, right? Because I mean, one of the trainings I went through when I first started into like outside sales as a career was what they called strategic rapport building, right? So like, in other words, what they were preaching, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I think it depends on the personality, but what they were preaching in the very beginning was, if you go into somebody's office and there's like a gigantic salmon on the wall, don't talk about the fish on the wall, right? Talk about what their buying motives are, talk about what their business goals or aspirations, and then later on you can go back with your solutions and say, well, this is the way that we're going to help you with your business. But my thought is, and also as a guy that is, I love trophies. I know I have a problem, but I love trophies. Maybe that's why sales resonates so well with me, because I just got a trophy recently. I posted on LinkedIn. I was so proud of it. Like, I have it like at my office, right?
Yeah.
But for someone that loves trophies, I would look at that and go, there's a reason he put that fish on his wall. He's super proud of that fish. So if I'm the guy that's saying, that's amazing, right? Okay, he's like, yeah, and he starts talking about it, or starts talking about the fishing trip that he went on with his family, or maybe that was the last time that he went with his dad before his dad passed away. And now we've built this emotional connection, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like I've been reading what's it called? Oh, People Buy You by Jeb Blunt. Have you read that book?
Okay. I have not read that one. The one I was reading, oh shoot, what is the name of it? Carnegie, last name.
Yeah. Oh yes. Dale Carnegie, right?
I think so.
Hold on. I might have the
Why
book.
can't I think of the name of it?
Is it that one?
Yes. How to win friends and influence people. Thank you.
Yes.
It was like right there on the tip of my brain, but as soon as I tried to access it, it was gone.
Yes. That's a great book.
And that's a big part of anytime you're going into someone's office, when you're going in just talking about business, they kind of start to tune you out. But when you talk to them about them, they open up.
Right.
So like you said, I'm going to see that fish. Holy smokes. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, that's cute. How long did that take you? Where did you go?
Yeah.
And your best friends, and he's sorry.
No, you're good. Sorry. But it's got to be genuine though, right? Because like if you're going in and you're being trained to talk about the fish, but you're not the person that would normally talk about the fish. Maybe fish gross you out, and you're like, I don't want to talk about the fish, but I know it's important. It's going to come off as like, oh my goodness, what a big fish you have. Please buy from me. Like it's going to be super creepy, right?
So apparently you like fishing, whatever. Okay, so they've got a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, that actually somewhat happens. One of my coworkers has a customer that, so sad story. I had a Labradoodle. He passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He had a brother. Yeah, it was awful. He had a brother. They both ended up at the shelter together. I can only handle one dog, so we took one dog home. This customer adopted my Labradoodle's brother.
Oh,
So we have
awesome.
that connection. Yes, but this customer is super into fishing. He used to be a fishing guide. So just like you say, as soon as he talks about fishing, I like zone out. I know nothing. Like, cool, trout, awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like I'll interact with as far as because he's got a couple of dogs. He's got a black lab, and this Labradoodle, and he likes to take him with him and everything. So I try to talk to him about it. But yeah, exactly like you said, be genuine. If I sat there and tried to fake like I knew where he was going on the Salmon River or up in Sun Valley or Island Park or something like that, you would see immediately that I was completely BSing because I
Yeah.
know none of that. But
Yeah.
if I'm like, oh, I've never been there, tell me about it. Oh,
Yeah.
I've never been there, tell me about it. I have a miniature human. Where are some good places to take him? See, now he still gets to talk about something he enjoys with the understanding I know nothing.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like it's like as I'm reading this book, like I'm reading the first couple chapters, and I'm just going, I do this all the this is just normal stuff that I do because I'm an extrovert, right? Like I have a ton of energy. My wife will tell you if I meet a stranger in the grocery store and that person's like, "Hey, I like your shirt," I'm gonna go, "Oh yeah, I got this shirt because it was a Christmas gift from my sales manager. His name's Chris, and I work at Universe Corporation." And we're just gonna go on this tangent. Like it's almost like me going, grab my hand, let's go for a ride through my life because that's how this is gonna
We
work.
now became best friends. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We're best friends now. This is John. I know everything
Yep.
about him. I know his kid's name because he told me everything. Some people are like, okay,
Honey. They go to the same park our kids go to.
yeah. That actually happened. It happened to me recently at my niece's wedding. Uh, which so she lives in Sacramento, California. I actually went back there for a little bit to go visit her and to see her get married. By the way, if you don't have any Greek friends, go get some because Greek weddings are lit. Anyways, so
Deal.
yeah, so this guy sits down next to me and we start up a conversation. Like I'm wearing a suit, he's wearing a suit. I've never met him before or anything else. And he starts talking about sales. And immediately I went, "Did you say sales?" Because that's my life. Like I'm gonna talk to him about it, right? My wife is like,
Mhm.
just say you're in sales and move on. Don't start talking about what you do. So I didn't take her
Right.
advice. I just started being myself. I started talking to him. I looked back at my wife. I'm like, right? I look back, he's gone. Like he was out of the building. He's
Failed.
like, I'm out.
Ran away.
He's like, I
I
can't.
saw an opening and I took it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like
Oh,
I think
that's
a lot of
funny.
it, a lot of building that trust too, because like jumping back into the fish analogy, you can't have a meeting that's only about the fish because eventually you got to ask this person for their business and you got to let them know
Right.
the reason you're there is not just to talk about fishes or something on his wall, right?
Yeah.
But point is building a relationship, building that trust has got to be genuine, right? Can I would imagine you've probably seen with your line of work people that have tried that and have failed miserably because that's not their personality, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't be the person I'm going to tell you all about my life as a salesperson.
Yeah.
You have to be invested in there. So yes, it's good to share a little bit, but mostly they're the important one.
Yeah. There's a great scene in The Office. You've seen The Office, right? You ever watch The
The
Office?
TV show or the
Yeah, yeah.
movie?
No, the TV show.
Yeah, no.
Really?
Really?
Oh my
No
gosh.
desire to see it.
Okay, so I have a great story to tell you before this part. So, uh,
Okay.
I don't know. you may have seen this on my LinkedIn page, like just for a second, because I took it off the same day I posted it. But my wife, like, we're gigantic fans of The Office, right? And she got me a
Okay.
sweatshirt that says Dunder Mifflin Paper Company on it, which is the business that they all work in,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I put that sweatshirt on, and I thought it'd be funny to post. I said something like, I don't know if I could find it. Let me see. Going back to my Facebook page a lot now today. Sorry about that, everyone listening, because you can't see my Facebook page.
Because yeah, let's definitely stop the conversation, stop the cast, so you can play on social media.
Yep, exactly. All right,
Definitely appropriate.
so it's a picture of me wearing the sweatshirt, and it says, "Well, I always knew this day would come. I've been with Universe for a combined total of 6 years and have had a great time. I have accomplished a lot of my goals and have been blessed to work for and with some amazing people. But alas, it's time to move on." So then I put a whole bunch of like little references to The Office. Like, my regional sales manager was going to be Dwight Schrute. The company's based out of Scranton,
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania. And then I posted a picture with the sweater. Only 50% of people understood that I was joking. Like, everybody else was like, you're leaving? That's crazy. Like, one of the top sales reps in my company actually texted me, and he was like, "Hey, your post kind of freaked me out." It's like, oh no. So I took it off. Anyways, I digress. See, it did a tangent thing. That's what salespeople do, because I'm all over the place. But the reason I
Look
bring
at
it up
that.
is
Look at
because,
that. Squirrel.
yeah, yep,
What?
exactly. But there's a great scene in that show where Michael Scott is in a cold call, he's in a sales call with Andy, and he's talking about the fish on the wall, and he goes, "Man, I went fishing all the time. I never caught anything that big." And he's making a relationship, right? And as soon as he says that, Andy goes, "I caught a 10-foot shark one time." So he's trying to one up him every time, and he's ruining the sale because he keeps doing that. Because it's just, he keeps talking about himself. He's not asking questions, right? Um, Much like I'm doing now. So anyway,
Right.
um, anyways, uh, so
Anyways,
yeah,
so my fish.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
Exactly. Let me ask you this question, Kayla,
Yep.
because I'm curious. So,
Okay.
how many times have you actually sold a vehicle to someone that's come on your lot and has said, "I'm just looking"?
So much.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just did that myself. Oh my gosh, I became the buyer. I became the buyer. It was the trippiest thing to me. So I'm a single mom. I have a fully furnished house, but pretty much everything that I have is secondhand, is donated. I mean, it's all nice. I have nice family, good friends. I have quality stuff. But for the first time in 6 years that I lived here in Idaho Falls, I was like, I'm gonna look at brand new furniture. I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not committing. I don't need anything. I'm just kind of looking. And of course, you start online, and online you can't see stuff. So I walked into a store. I want to preface this story with 6 years ago when I moved here, I needed a dining room table because I now have a dining room in my house. I went into a different furniture store and had a terrible experience, and I still do not have a dining room table. So I walk into a different yeah. We'll get into that in a minute, but because I'm telling you about how I became the I'm just looking buyer. Walked into this furniture store and was greeted by a very friendly young lady, pretty much immediately. And I immediately told her, "Hey, I'm in no hurry. I apologize. Don't want you to spend any time with me. I wanted to see this in person. I don't really know that I'm buying anything today." And she goes, "Okay, cool. Go ahead, look around. Just want you to know, because of everything that's happening right now, we're 12 to 16 weeks out if we do order anything." And so I'm like, "Oh, hey, I work at a car dealership. Same." And she goes, "Oh, thank goodness. You understand. Cool. I won't bug you. You have questions, let me know." Awesome. So we wander around, and she comes in and she's checking on us. And exactly like you said, she's very social. I'm a very social. We start chatting. She's got her first grandbaby on the way. She's just sitting here talking to me. She talks about my kid, asks about him. How old is he? Oh, that's cool, because he looks about my youngest age. Da da da. We go on, and she's just the sweetest person. And I find a couch, and I'm like, I hate this color. And she goes, we're under fluorescent lights. Take a pillow home. And immediately it just shocked me. I'm like, you're just going to let me take a pillow? She goes, take it. You'll see the color in your house. Let me know if you like it. I'm like, I was so confused. I'd never had someone that was this helpful, this kind, that was like, here, just take it, go. So I did. And, when are you going to close? She's like, come back tomorrow. But she committed me to coming back, is what she did. Handing me that pillow, making me take it with me. She committed me to coming back without committing me. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I did. I took it home, came back to her, and the experience was so different. And I came back to her. We found a couch in the right color. I gave her money immediately. And now I'm planning the entire redecoration of my living room with this woman. I'm thinking that my kid needs new mattress. I'm going to need new mattress. I still haven't gotten that dining room table. Eventually I'm going to need one of those. Just like you said, that, I wasn't going to buy anything. I was just looking.
Yeah.
But when you go to a salesperson, when you go into a dealership, a furniture store, out to someone for uniforms, you are trying to validate or eliminate. That is the only reason you were going there. That is the only reason someone is talking to you. They're either trying to validate or eliminate you.
I love that.
Which is exactly what I was doing with a furniture store.
Yeah. Like, I'm
Sorry.
probably going to watch this podcast back and actually take notes about what you just said, to validate or eliminate. I love that phrase, because, like, that's what the consumers do. What the salespeople do is sort of within that same realm, right? We either qualify them,
right,
or we walk away, right? We know that person's not going to buy. Like, either they're a buyer now or they're a buyer later. That's how I look at it, right? But for her to let you take a pillow home and go, yeah, go ahead and take it home, and then also commit you to come back, that's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Smart.
But she did it so smoothly that I didn't even realize what was happening. I was so distracted by the fact, like, I'm terrified to take this pillow home. What if something happens to it?
Yeah.
That I didn't even, literally until just now, that she was committing me to come back to that store.
Right. Yeah, because, like, imagine too, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, how would I react if that situation happened to me and some salesperson is like, yeah, go ahead and take it home. I'm definitely not going to a different furniture store at that point, because I have this person's pillow. I can't wait to take it home and actually see what it looks like. Maybe they know something I don't.
Yes.
So smart.
Exactly.
So smart.
Exactly.
We should get that girl. Like, I should get that girl on the podcast. Like, actually talk and tell her.
I have her card.
Oh,
I have her card. It's out in my car. I will send you a picture of it when I'm in my car tomorrow. You can go and visit with her, and you can go. So I met this. I bought a car from this girl at Smith Chevrolet, and now you obviously need to be my new best friend, my new furniture rep.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you right now. Like, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna start off the podcast like that. I'm gonna go. So, legend has spread of the famous take the pillow home technique. And apparently you created this, so we got to talk about this, because that's amazing.
We have to know what was in your head at that moment. Yeah. You did the unthinkable. You sold the salesperson.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that. Right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times too, like, I find myself going into places that, like, I know there's going to be a salesperson there, and I'm like, my own techniques will not be used against me. Like, I know what you're doing, right? But every now and again, you come across that salesperson that's special, that can just totally disarm you and just take away all that stuff,
And that's what happened, because, like I say, I just realized that's why she did that. That's why she handed me the pillow. I mean, yes, it was to see if I liked the color in my house, but now she's arming herself like, haha, you
Right.
have to come back.
Right.
Either
Yeah.
either you give me money for the pillow, like the only way you're out of this is I call you and get money for the pillow, or you come back and bring it to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's 100% true. I mean, that's like the opposite of like what's the old tactic that people would use to go see another person if they had a date, like, oh, I accidentally left my purse or my lipstick there, and now I have to
Yep.
call that guy back and go back and see him and have a reason for that. Guys do the same thing, by the way. I just don't know what they do because I've never used that technique, but that's like a perfect opposite to like take it home, check it out, go see. Like there's still a relationship and attachment to that. That's also one of the reasons too that like I feel that way if I go to a prospect and I bring samples of the uniforms, they can touch it and feel it, actually try it on. Like I make sure like it's like their size, right? And when I
Right.
bring it into a big account, I'll leave it there. One of the best techniques I've ever seen with that is somebody actually took the time to buy a mannequin and set it up in the owner's office with what the uniform is going to look like.
Mhm.
And I came in as like a rookie sales rep and I saw that immediately. I was like, I have no shot at this business because whoever
I
bought that
know.
mannequin and just left it there
Yeah.
for me to look at,
Right.
I'm like, I didn't even bring a sample. Like I was a brand new rookie. Like there's no way I'm gonna be the person that is that savvy. So that's
Right.
incredible. You definitely send me
Yeah.
her contact because that's so smart. Um, wow,
Absolutely.
what a great way to build trust too, because there's nothing in it. Like I mean, you could have brought that pillow back and just give it back to her. Yeah, I still don't like the color, right? But
Yeah.
you're
And that's what happened. I walked in and I go, so I have two problems now. And so her eyes get really big. Oh my gosh, what happened? I was like, well, one, I still hate this color. But two, I realized I'm eliminating a piece of furniture because I bought a sectional. I have a love seat and a sofa right now. I'm eliminating a piece of furniture. I still have the same number of seating with the sectional, but
Mhm.
now I'm going to have a bare wall. And I don't have a TV stand. So in addition to the couch, I also need a TV stand. So not only like and again, it was, we're
Upsold.
back to, I was looking for a couch. Now I have bought I've bought a couch, I've purchased a couch, and I'm looking through exclusively that store's website for a TV stand. I'm also now looking at throw rugs, coffee tables.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, turned me from the I'm just looking, just go away. I'm just
Yeah.
looking, just me
Yeah. Because I mean,
to yeah.
how simple would it have been, and how much easier would it have been for that salesperson to hear you say, "Oh, I'm just looking," and just go, "Oh, okay," and then just like walk away, and
Yeah.
not actually engage you into what you
Yeah.
were there for.
And she didn't know the couch came in another color.
Hmm.
For defense, there's thousands upon thousands of pieces of furniture, couches, mattresses, things like that. I'm not upset about that. But at the time, the only thing that she had was, like I said, given the pillow. But had she not done that, had she just gone, oh, this is the only color it comes in, I don't know what to tell you, and just let me go,
Yeah.
she didn't create a bad, you know what I mean? It wasn't a bad experience, so I might have come back and looked again.
Hmm.
But the fact that she took it that step further and got me back into the store, and by the time I came back, she had discussed with coworkers and found out that yes, you can get the couch that I wanted in the color that I wanted.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she not only made me come back, but she gave herself time to do her research.
Sure. Absolutely. And
Brilliant.
and
Just
I'm sure
brilliant.
that she probably thought too that once I give her this cushion, like she's probably thinking about you the entire day and the entire
Mhm.
night, and she's like, okay, how can I strategize about getting this customer and actually helping this customer too? Because there's a big difference
Right,
between, like with my industry, a lot of people want like an apples to apples comparison, right? They want to see,
right.
I have this specific SKU of uniform, I have these pants, and I want to see what you guys would charge for the exact same thing. And when you play that game, otherwise known as the race to zero, where you're competing on price and price only,
I like that.
Yeah, it's not mine. I can't take credit for it. Uh,
Fair enough.
I actually heard that from Jeff Brantley. So Jeff, if you're listening, thank you for that. So like what I do
I'm
is,
using that.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
perfect, right?
coin that for me. Hey,
Yeah,
thank you for me too, because now I'm gonna take it into work and pretend that I'm smart.
yeah, there you go, right? But to me, like what I try to do is I try to go, okay, well let's take a step back. Why do you have this particular shirt? Why do you have this pant? Like let's say that you're in an auto body shop, right? And you deal with oil, you deal with transmission fluid, you deal with this. I'm going to offer you our liquid resistant shirt and pants. Is it going to be a little bit more expensive? Maybe, right? Most likely, but thing about it is if you're getting oil on your shirt or your pant, you're also going to be paying for ruin charges or for damage charges, which is going to add up over time the more that you do it. So why not just eliminate that cost and go with something that's a little bit more expensive? It also looks a little better and it fits your specifications better, right? Like
Right.
for me, like when I came in and I spoke with you, one of the first cars that we looked at was the Chrysler Pacifica, right?
Yes.
Which I thought was dope.
Spaceship.
Yeah, it was like a
Your
spaceship. Yeah.
I will never forget how excited you got over this
Oh, I
car.
was so
Oh
stoked.
my gosh, honey, it's like I'm in the inside of Star Trek.
Yeah, like I said that exactly. But then it was interesting
Yeah.
because like when I came in the last time when we actually purchased a vehicle, you provided the solution that I didn't even know that I needed, and that was the Acadia, right? Because the Pacifica is not an all-wheel drive car,
Mhm.
and we do live
Yeah.
in a climate where it snows for 6 to 7 months out of the year, basically, and there's ice everywhere. The last thing I want is my wife driving around with my 4 kids
Mhm.
and her slipping and sliding this big, gigantic vehicle that has so much weight on the back end now that she crashes or wraps around a pole, right? So for
Star Trek was meant to fly and drive. I get it.
right, right. Point is, because of the relationship, because of you actually
Yeah.
listening to what I was saying, that's the reason we were able to purchase the vehicle from that. So it's all come full circle now. We stopped the tangent. Now we're back. Um, don't worry, we'll go off topic again, I'm sure, because that's what I do best.
Oh my gosh, will we ever?
um, but yeah, that process was made so simple, and that's something too I heard a long time ago. Like I don't know if you listen to like motivational speakers or if you have a favorite one, but Tony Robbins actually said this a long time ago, and it always resonated with me. He said complexity is the enemy of execution. So like from a sales standpoint,
Mhm.
the harder I make your choice to go with me, the less likely I am to earn your business ultimately, right? I mean, if it's just about price, if we're going to
Mhm.
play price game, and my competitor is 50% less than what we charge, I can't beat the price. It's just not going to work. And if that's the only thing I'm judged on,
Right.
then I'm going
Right.
to lose, right? So that's my
Yep.
thought anyway. But yeah.
Yeah. I've actually had a situation pretty much exactly like that. I was at a GMC dealership before I was with Chevrolet. I had a farmer come in asking me about the work truck model. Absolutely. What are you comparing it to? Was my first question.
Well,
And
that's
he told
good.
me he's looking at all the brands, Dodge, Ford, Chevy, GMC. Is that Odin?
It is Odin. Do you want to say hi? Yes, yes. He's actually turning 5 on a Sunday, so he'll be my little 5-year-old. Yeah, not so
Wow.
little anymore. He's a big boy for sure. But on
Yeah,
that
I remember
note,
that. Anyway, on that note, back to, so what are you comparing it to? All the different models. And I go, okay, what is most important to you? Price or quality? And price. Awesome. I'm going to save you a lot of time. Go with Dodge. And he stopped and he looked at me and
ooh,
goes, are you saying that you don't want to sell me a truck right now? I go, I'm absolutely not saying that. However, if price is your only concern, go with the cheapest one. Well, quality is important too. Great. I'm going to show you why GMC is the only truck for you. I will show you why it costs so much more than its competitors. So we spent 2 hours going over every detail, comparing it, every molecule to both Ford and Chevy as thoroughly as I humanly could. And then we get to pencil. This is not a successful story, but we get down to pencil and I show him, after rebates, discounts, things like that, what his cost was. And he looked at it and he got mad at me and he goes, I can buy 2 Dodges for that. It's like, I tried to save you 2 hours, sir. And he stopped, looked at me and he goes, you're right, you did. Like, I did ask you to show me the quality. Like, he realized, oh, okay, my bad. And, we left on good terms. But yeah, that if I'm just doing, like you said, race to zero, I could have saved us both 2 hours.
Yep.
No feelings lost. No. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because sometimes when you call customers on that phrase that they use, like, price is everything, and then you go to the cheapest option, they don't want it. Right? Like I just signed up a customer recently who I walked back into his locker room where like all of his uniforms were, and they were trashed. I mean, like every single one had a rip or a hole or had a stain or whatever. I came back and I said, hey, I took pictures of it, right? I came back and I said, hey, is image important to you? Thinking he was going to say, yeah, definitely. He's like, nah, not really. I was like, oh, well, that explains it. I showed him all his uniforms. He goes, yeah, that's pretty much par for the course. I kind of expect them to be like that. So not a big deal. They're not really customer facing, whatever. So I said, okay. I said, well, ultimately, if image isn't that important to you and you're not concerned about uniforms coming back that aren't being taken care of, they're not being repaired, how do I
Mm-mm.
earn your business? Is this just about price? He's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you can save me X amount per month, I'll definitely seriously consider switching. So I said, okay. So I come back, showed him apples to apples comparison of what he had, and then showed him my cheapest option, which is a shirt and a pair of pants that we actually manufacture. And I said, so this is the price
Mm-hmm.
for this one. This is the price for here. He didn't pick the cheaper option. He went with the more expensive one because he's like, yeah, I don't want my guys
Yeah.
wearing those. It actually does matter when you call someone on that and you get them to actually tell you what they're really looking for, right? Because like if price wasn't an option for people that purchase cars, they would, or rather, if price was a concern and they want the cheapest thing ever, they could go around to any of these little local places and buy a like a Chevy that has 300,000 miles for $500. That's going to last them 2 weeks. I mean, why would they walk onto a
Yep.
dealership and say, "Oh,
And those are the ones that
that's
get
20
the
grand"?
most angry.
Yep.
Yeah. I spent $5,000 on this car. Why did it break down in 2 months? Well, sir, it's a 2006 Chevy Cavalier with what, 290,000 miles on it? Okay. That being said, you can still find inexpensive options that are
Sure.
still quality. It's just, like you say, going with someone that's a little bit more reputable, going with someone that you can trust
Right.
more, someone that is going to show you those options. All right, here's my cheapest if price is all that matters, or you could pick one of these that'll actually save you money over time. So yes, it sounds good to go with that cheap little runaround car that you spent $1,500 on, but then every month you're spending $200 to $400 repairing something, replacing something. Now, how much has that $1,500 car cost you?
Yep. Exactly. Like, and the only caveat I would add to that, of course, I'm not a salesperson in the car industry like you are, but like I would add, as far as building a cost analysis recommendation, like what you're talking about, and showing them on paper, this is what it's going to cost you for this part or for this, and this is what the trend of that vehicle is after this. This is what the manufacturer's recommendation is. Like showing all that stuff
Yeah.
matters, right? But like
Yeah.
when you purchase something for that has absolutely no value and you're just buying it to have a vehicle and you're purchasing it from somebody that's maybe not as reputable as going to an actual dealership, I mean, you're going to get what you pay for. And that's pretty much the case in my industry too, right? Is you have these companies that come in, they undercut competitors' pricing by
Yeah.
50%. And within 6 months, they jack the pricing
Yeah.
back up. And I'm like, there's a reason they could do that. It's because like
Never
certain,
locked into a contract.
yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's another thing too that I kind of take up and I talk to customers about. In fact, I just sat down with the hospital out here and I was like, so you don't like your vendor, you're having issues, this is going on, right? Hey, look, I would love to earn your business. Let me ask this question though. Do you know when your service agreement is expiring? Most people have no clue. They're like, I mean, I think I think we're month to month. I'm like, nah, you're not month to month. Like not for this service. And when I actually bring it to the forefront and go, I'm not going to sign you up today because if you sign up with me and I order uniforms,
Mm-hmm.
like we have a relationship now. We like it's everything's done.
Right.
But what I
Yeah.
want you to do is actually want you to go back and look into your agreement because I don't want to put you in an awkward legal battle. But that's building the trust, right? And it's funny because I've
Right.
had like a lot of people over the course of my career tell me, well, how come the other reps from the other company didn't even bring this up? I'm like, either they don't know or they don't care. But either way, would you want to do business with them or me? And they go,
Right.
well, definitely you. Cool. So I'll wait for a year. I'll wait for 2 years. I'll come back, and then eventually we'll get your business then. I don't need it now. I want it now, but I don't need it. Right. Anyways.
Right. 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 No, and that kind of, so with another coworker that I was a couple days ago, he had a young lady, she wants to buy a truck. She's comparing prices to a bunch of other different dealerships. Like you were saying that you can adjust the contract later. She wasn't reading the fine print on all of the rebates and discounts. She sent him a quote, we'll match this price, we'll match this price. And he goes, did you not read the terms and conditions underneath, like all the little disclosures underneath? She goes, what do you mean? And he's like, it says that they can change the terms of the agreement at any time during the contract.
Yeah.
So this is like the car you bought. I don't know if you already paid it off or not, but you do set up some financing to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if I could adjust the interest rate throughout your contract of that?
No.
That's basically to get all of the discounts. They could go back in and jack your rate up 6 months later, 3 months later,
Yep.
2 years later to get
Yep.
that money back.
Yeah.
And
And
it's like,
it's so hard too for people because like some of the greatest lessons I've learned about life and about sales have been because I've purchased multiple vehicles in my lifetime. And the first vehicle I purchased, I mean, it was a great car. I just didn't take care of it because I never got an oil change. And eventually it just like it died, right?
I
But
don't like that.
yeah, but the second vehicle I bought for the dumbest reason in the world. Like I could have had a way nicer vehicle for the same price, but I didn't like the interior. I was so picky about the interior, and I go back and I buy this other car. It was a Chevy Aveo, by the way, which was literally featured on Top Gear as one of the worst vehicles ever. And they were right.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
that car. I had that car for 6 years. I finally pay it off. I get in an accident on the freeway. Car's totaled. I'm fine. First thing I did when I crashed and realized I was okay is I was like, "Oh, please, for the love of all that is good and holy, be totaled, so I can go get something else." Sure enough, that's when I bought the Ford Taurus, and I was like, "Oh, this car is dope, right?" But yeah, you're right. Is like when I bought that car, it took me like a week to negotiate and to read over everything and actually go through the tedious process. And it was an eye-opening experience. And a lot of people, Kayla, they don't know this. That
They don't read. Cool,
no,
that's a great price. I'll take it.
right.
What else is in there? So yes, you might be getting a great price, but yeah, if you're not looking over what fees are they putting into, what are the terms of the loan, what,
Right.
what is all going into that? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's super important. And again, with that being said too, that bringing everything full circle again, that's the reason that that trust with the customer is so important, because like with car sales, with uniform sales, there's a stigma with a lot of salespeople, specifically in like certain industries, right? Like car sales. I mean, obviously the stigma is there. Everybody knows.
Right.
There's movies that are made about car salespeople that put car salespeople in such a terrible light.
Such a pretty light. I was going to say, we touched on this the last podcast. I'm not
Mhm.
actually a salesperson. I'm a client advisor.
Yes, exactly. There's a big difference,
Yes,
right? But
exactly.
there's
Exactly.
also, I mean, there's also a stigma with like uniform salespeople. And when I come across people who are like, I sat down with, I've had 3 different companies. I'm not switching. You guys are all the same, right? I mean, that's a tough objection to overcome. And I won't bore the audience by the way that I overcome that objection, because I also don't want my competition to know how I overcome that objection either, because it's trade secrets, baby. Um, but yeah, like, I mean,
Gotta know people.
yeah, but having trust and building that trust first is so important, because ultimately, like Jeb Blunt said in his book, people buy you. If someone doesn't like you, they're not going to do business with you. And there's been moments in my career where I'm like, I know this person doesn't like me because I don't like this person. And it's very rare I
Right.
don't like someone, right? So I'm going to find every reason to like walk away. And oddly enough, and maybe you've experienced this too, but like oddly enough, when I try to take the sale away from that person and go, I don't think we're a good fit, they go, no, I want this. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, we see it all the time. We just happen to have the right vehicle and they don't want to deal with that salesperson. Um, it happened in my favor, to be honest. Normally it doesn't. I had a young lady, she was looking at third row SUVs,
Mm-hmm.
comparing, she wouldn't even, mind you, she wouldn't even look at my Traverse. She would not look at it. Absolutely not. No way, no how. Don't even, okay, Kayla. Okay, got it. But she was looking at my competition, the Toyota Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
And so we looked at every other vehicle that I could show her other than the Traverse. Finally, I go, hey, please, you've spent so much time with me. We've become really good friends. Just please look at it for me. If you hate it, then tell me I was wrong. World ends, whatever. She goes, okay, because I like you, I'll look at it. So I show her one. And lo and behold, she loves it, da da da. And the whole time, she honestly, we negotiated, like you said, a week. She's comparing these different vehicles, shopping. She tells me, she keeps telling me, I like the Highlander better. I like the Highlander better. I like the Traverse is my number 2. It's a close number 2, but I like the Highlander better. She went into the Toyota dealership, a local one around this area,
Mm-hmm.
say which one, and we have a current crisis going on, COVID. Everyone's supposed to stay 6 feet apart,
Right.
which, so I helped her look for her daughter's car, which is where I originally met her. She made it very clear, stay 6 feet apart from me. If you get too close to me, you have to be wearing your mask. Her husband has a government job. Like, we have to follow these rules stringently.
Sure.
Golden. So I always stayed 6 feet apart from her. I always had my mask, carried sanitizer with her. I respected her wishes very, very closely. She goes into the Toyota dealership, basically ready to get numbers, basically ready to close deal on a Highlander, and she gets boxed in by 2 males in a corner, not
Mm.
wearing their masks, penetrating the 6 feet, like not even 6 feet, but the 3 feet, like getting like right in her face. And she goes, I immediately bailed. I'm buying the Traverse completely out of spite.
Yep.
Nope. But normally someone would continue because, like, oh, the Highlander's my favorite, I'm buying that, but would never go back to that dealership for their oil changes, for their services, things like that. So they never had to deal with that. Um, so that's what kind of sucks about that too. You do want the person to like you, to come back for additional services, to give you those referrals, things like that. Um, so it does kind of stink when you don't have that connection.
Yeah.
So
And there's definitely too, like a lot of people say that business isn't personal, but I honestly I feel like it's one of the most personal things out there. Not, by the way, that's a quote from Michael Scott from The Office, but it's true, right? Like a lot of things you see in that show are actually kind of like they're kind of, yeah, they're kind of real life examples. I mean, when you buy something, it's not always going to be a logical choice or decision. It's going to be an emotional one too. And again, it's one built on trust. And once again, that's ultimately the reason we bought the vehicle from you. But having said that, we've been talking now for an hour and 15 minutes. It's amazing how fast that went by, right? It's crazy. But having said that,
Probably not for those watching.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, if you're a salesperson and you guys like my content, you like what you see here, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more episodes of Stop Interviewing, Start Selling. And also go to Kayla's YouTube page. Guys, we're going to get her to make more videos. If we have to subscribe to make her do it, we'll do it. Okay. Go search for Kayla the Car Girl. Let me make sure I have that correct on my page here.
Who's Kayla the Car Girl?
Hey,
I liked the alliteration.
yep, Kayla the Car Girl. It's Kayla the Car Girl. Okay, look it up, guys. Thank you so much, Kayla. Thank you so much again for being on my show. I really appreciate it. You were awesome. And once again, when I'm ready to purchase a work vehicle, I'm definitely going to come back to you, and we're going to make that thing happen. All right.
Cool. Ford Fusion, right?
No. I think I'm done with the Fusion for now. I'm thinking more of, like, maybe Kia or something.
Oh my gosh, I know a guy there. I got you.
All right. All right. Well, Kayla, thanks so much. And thank you, everybody. Once again, this has been an episode of Stop Interviewing, Start Selling. And you guys have an awesome day. We'll talk to you guys later.